מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, שבת אחים גם יחד. Behold how good and how pleasant it is for all to dwell together. Behold how good and how pleasant it is for all to dwell together in unity. Hine ma tov, la 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 la. In unity, hine ma tov, la 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 la.
Welcome everyone, I'm Rabbi Barry Silver here on behalf of Congregation L'Dor Va-Dor with a very exciting Shabbat celebration. We're going to attempt to answer one of the most profound, significant religious, spiritual questions of all time. Can God appear in our lives? The Torah passage this week gives us an answer that we can rely upon. This entire Shabbat celebration, we will be discussing and addressing this issue. But before we do that, I must share with you a story about two Jewish men who were lamenting the fact that their sons had gone astray. Each one was expressing such remorse and chagrin. And they said, let us pray to the Almighty. Maybe God will have an answer for us to help us with this deep, grievous wound in our heart. So each one poured out their hearts to God, saying how forlorn they were, that their son had gone astray. And when they were both done with their tale of woe, God says, tell me about it. You should see what happened to my son. Oh my goodness, my friends. Some people think that God can be found in a Son of God, and that God, instead of being one, is now three. And unfortunately, some people who have adopted the Christian God turned upon the Jewish people and did unspeakable things to us. And so we can see that this concept of God is one that is not easily reconciled. But in this Torah reading today, in this Shabbat celebration today, we will not only grapple with it, but come up with an answer that is satisfying, not only to the heart, but to the mind. Come with us as we journey to answer this age-old question. And to help us in this endeavor, we have Dr. Marcy Weiss. Leading us in the candle lighting, I would submit to you that she does something that helps us answer this question. Can God appear in our lives? For she is a therapist. She helps people with their problems. She helps people to feel better about themselves. In that way, yes, she allows God to appear through her if you view God as a force for healing and love. And then we also have another person, Margie Goldman Spaderna, who's going to be leading us in the Kiddush. She was very active in the Social Action Committee of L'Dor Va-Dor, helping to make this world a better place, helping to channel Jewish values and ideals into practice and reality. This is another way that God appears in our lives, when we use our abilities to champion Jewish ideals to make the world a better place. My friends, the Torah reading will give us an even more concrete expression of it. But leading up to it along the way, don't miss out, because just like you don't want to miss out on the hors d'oeuvres before the main course, join with us in the Shabbat celebration. Don't skip all the way to the sermon, and you will find out how God can appear in our lives. And now, let the celebration of Shabbat begin.
Good evening, everyone. Come, let us welcome Shabbat and give thanks for its light. May our homes shine with the lights of Shabbat and our hearts glow with Shabbat joy this week and every week. We welcome Shabbat and give thanks for its light. And now as we light the Shabbos candles, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvosav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. May we be blessed with Shabbat joy. May we be blessed with Shabbat peace. And may we be blessed with Shabbat light.
Shalom. The verses and blessings that we recite in the Kiddush, the blessing over the wine, proclaim the holiness of Shabbat and trace it back to the creation of the world. We recite the blessing before drinking the wine, which is usually sweet. Sweet wine adds to the beauty of Shabbat, making it just a little bit sweeter. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Amen. Shabbat shalom, everyone.
We use symbols on Shabbat in order to indicate how can God appear and enter into our lives. The wine reminds us of sweetness. When we are sweet and kind and generous to other people, a force of love is emanating from us in all directions. And therefore, when we act in that manner, God appears. The candles remind us of the light of love and of reason, the ability to use the human mind to be able to ascertain truth, the ability to connect through love and join our lives with others and care about others and merge our well-being with theirs and expand our lives beyond our physical limitations to encompass all others. In this way, God appears because God represents all living things. We also have various prayers that allow God to appear when we express gratitude, awe, and wonder at the world around us. In that way, God appears in our lives. So we're going to now enter into some of these wonderful prayers. And if we do this with a sincere heart, then God indeed will appear.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. If you're lost, you feel afraid, and you don't know what to say, then listen to our God. Is there a question on your mind? Is the answer hard to find? Then listen to our God. Listen with all your heart and soul, and with all of your might. Write them and learn them and teach them well, every morning and night. Close your eyes and listen.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדע בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף אליהם, נורא תהילות אוסף אליהם, מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקי הים לפני משה, זה ליענו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך, אדוני ימלוך, לעולם ועד.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu, ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, ve'Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el, Hagadol, v'Hagibor, v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel chasadim tovim, v'konei hakol, v'zocher chasdei avot v'imahot, v'mevii geula livnei bneihem leman shemo b'ahava, Melech, Ozer, Moshiach, Magen. Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham, Bezrat Sarah. Atah Kadosh v'Simcha Kadosh u'Kadoshim b'chol yom ya'aleluch hasela. Baruch atah Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh. There's a story in the Torah about the prophet, and he's trying to find God, and he sees this tremendous power in the thunder and the lightning. He sees this majestic presence in the mountaintop. He sees this powerful force in the roar of the oceans. But God doesn't appear in any of those places. No, no, no. To him, God appears as a still small voice within the human heart. This consciousness and this conscience that we have, urging us to do better, urging us to be better people. Where does this come from? What is this power in us that wants us to be good, that wants us to connect with others, that wants us to be able to transcend ourselves and to connect with the cosmos? We're going to now spend a few moments in silent reflection. And when we do that, and we listen to the still small voice, not only that's within us, but within all living things, God appears.
מי שברך אבותינו, אברהם, יצחק ויעקב. מי שברך אמותינו, שרה, רבקה, לאה ורחל. May the one who blessed our mothers, may the one who blessed our fathers, hear our prayer, hear our prayer. Hear our prayer, hear our prayer, and bless us as well. Bless us with the power of your healing. Bless us with the power of your hope. May our hearts be filled with understanding and strengthened by the power of your love. Bless us with the vision for tomorrow Help us to reach out to those in pain. May the warmth of friendship ease our sorrow. Give us courage, give us faith, show us the way. Mi shebeirach avotenu, mi shebeirach imotenu. Hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, and bless us as well.
רפאנו אדוני ונרפא, הושיענו וניוושע, אל קרוב לכל קורב, אך קרוב לרעב אישו. We pray for healing of the body. We pray for healing of the soul, for strength of flesh and mind and spirit. We pray to us again, oh, please heal us now. רפואת הנפש ורפואת הגוף, רפואה שלמה, אלה לפניו. Oh, please heal us, please heal us.
רפואת הנפש ורפואת הגוף, רפואה שלמה.
Heal us now, heal us now, heal us now.
Ki mitzion tetzei Torah, Ki mitzion tetzei Torah, U'davar Adonai mirushalayim. Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah, Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah, Le'amo Yisrael B'kedushato.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamavarach. Baruch Adonai hamavarach leolam vahed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. My friends, the Torah reading for this Shabbat comes from the book of Exodus, a passage called va-eira. Vayidaber Elohim el Moshe, vayomer elav, and God spoke to Moses and said to him, Ani Yahweh, ve'ere el Avraham, el Yitzchak, ve'el Yaakov, ke'el Shaddai. He said, I am Yahweh, and I appeared to your fathers Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob by the name of El Shaddai, which means various definitions for this, but God who is providing with all of our needs. Ushemi Yehovah lo nodati lahem. But my name Yehovah, or Yahweh is also pronounced, I did not make known to them. Im hakimoti et boriti itam latet lahem et eretz Canaan et eretz megurehem. And although I didn't make that name known to them, I had a covenant with them in which I promised to give them the lands of these migrations, yes, as an inheritance. V'gam ani shamati et na'akat b'nei Yisrael, asher Mitzrayim avdim otam. I have also heard the groans of the people of Israel under the oppression of Egypt. Ve'ezkor et briti, and I will remember my covenant with their fathers. Lachen, emor livnei Yisrael, ani yaveh ve'hetzeti etchem mitachat sivlot Mitzrayim. And he said to Moses, tell them, make known to them, that the God of their fathers will take them out from under the burdens of Egypt. The word Egypt, Mitzrayim, also means narrow straits. So you could interpret this as, when does God appear? God appears when we are delivered out of our narrow-mindedness, or Mitzrayim, Egypt in Hebrew, and we are able to expand our view beyond ourselves to another person, to all people, to all living things, and throughout the cosmos. That is the deliverance that we seek. As we use the metaphorical deliverance from Egypt, Mitzrayim, narrowness, when we expand our view to the entire cosmos and have this cosmic religious view, God appears. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu torat emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah. Amen. My friends, there's a classic story about the man who finds himself in the midst of a hurricane and a flood, and he's desperate, and he's praying to God for deliverance. Just then, a fire truck comes by, and they're putting people inside, and he thinks, oh no, the fire truck might not make it. And he says, no, I'm not interested, and he goes by. Later on, the flood waters are higher, and a canoe comes by. A man in a canoe says, come jump in. He says, I can help you. He says, no, no, no. I'm waiting for God to deliver me. Thank you anyway. Then the waters get higher. He climbs up onto the roof of the house. A helicopter flies overhead and says, climb up the ladder. Come on in. He says, no, I'm waiting for God. And then the man doesn't survive. Later in the next world, he says, God, why didn't you save me? And he says, who do you think sent the fire truck, the canoe, and the helicopter? My friends, many people are waiting for a supernatural being to find God. They think that God's not in this world. It's not in the wonderful acts of love and charity in this world. It's got to be something supernatural, something beyond anything they've ever seen, a spectacular vision like in the movies. My friends, if we're trying to find God, we must look around this world and see that there is no supernatural, but the natural is super. My friends, how is it that we could find God? Is it possible to find God in this world? First, in order to answer the question, we have to be able to define what God is. There's so many concepts about it, and people are very indefinite about it. I want to share with you that the concept of God, the name of God brought up in this passage, Yehovah, has special meaning. It means that which generates existence. Can we find God in the world? If you find existence and you believe, and we know today, that there is a creative power in the universe that brought everything forward, this creative power took us from 1 cell to 100 trillion, took a singularity and created a universe. We know there's a creative force in power. It's not speculative. And so, yes, we can find God in the world for a certainty because we can see it in action. And science is called informed worship. It helps us to understand and to see this creative power at work. You know, some people have different words for God. Some people call God Adonai. Some people call God Adonai. Some people say, I don't know. Some people say, I deny. All of these ways are thinking about God. But you know, the first two, Adonai and Adonai, these are the believers among us who pray to God. They know that there's a God and they are certain of it. They might be wrong. They might not be rational about it. There are many believers who don't know what they're talking about and go off in crazy directions. These are the believers. Then we have the I don't know. Those are the agnostics. Then we have the Adonai, I deny. These are the atheists. We have all different types. Believers, agnostics, atheists. How can we know which one is right? Is there a way that we can determine for sure that there is this power out there and that we have the ability to link up with it? At L'Dor Va-Dor, we unite Judaism and science, religion and rational thinking in order to be able to approach God and to understand this concept of God from a rational point of view, grounded in reason. Does that mean that we are arrogant to say we know everything about God? Of course not. However, we do have the information to realize certain things about this creative power that some call God, and we know this primarily through science and through reason. So what is it that we can know for sure about this creative power, and what is it that we can do in order to bring this power into our lives? Well, first of all, what we have to recognize is that God is a concept of the human mind trying to understand these creative powers, and the concept has been evolving and growing throughout history. As Einstein said, at first we thought God was a scary ogre with thunderbolts and diseases and famine and plagues. And so we were afraid. We thought he was an evil, angry God, and we gave him sacrifices to appease his anger. And then we thought he was a father figure. We thought that he was like rewarding the good and punishing the bad. And then he evolved into what Einstein called a cosmic religious feeling. It's a sense of awe and wonder at the symmetry and the majesty and the beauty of the world. That's where we're at with cosmic Judaism. That's where humanity is emerging into this concept that we have that's based on the heart and the mind as well. Imagine, my friends, if we went to the airport and we were going to pick up a person and we didn't know anything about, we had never met them before, and someone describes this person, but instead of describing them as they are today, describe them as a baby, as they were when they were 3 months old, and now they're actually 50 years old. Would the person recognize him and say, oh yeah, I can see that that person is really the baby, now he's all grown up? If your description was of a baby, you'd have no way of recognizing that person. My friends, our ancestors did the best they could to understand God, but they lived in a pre-scientific age. They knew nothing about the germ theory of disease. They thought God did it. They knew nothing about plate tectonics. They thought God caused earthquakes. They knew nothing about the heliocentric theory of the universe. They thought the Earth was in the center of the entire cosmos and everything went around Earth. They thought the world was created in 6 days. They were ill-equipped to try to find out what God is all about. They did have a sense of it, but they didn't have it fully developed by any means. They were like a baby-like approach to God. It's like trying to find a human being that's 50 years old in a baby. We wouldn't recognize it. How do we find God? How can we bring God into our lives? By understanding that the concept of God has been evolving over thousands of years. And our understanding today far surpasses in many ways our ancestors. In some ways they got us beat. In some ways they were connected with the earth and with the feelings of awe and wonder in ways that perhaps we're not. And so we do say that they have some things over us. But in other ways, we far surpass them. So what does it take in order to make this happen, that we could find God in our lives? Well, my friends, we have to be able to see that God is a concept that is evolving and growing with human evolution. And the more we know, the more we can conceive of this power and get more and more accurate about what this power is all about. Now remember that God was first made known to Moses in a bush. And what happened in the bush? God said, "Take off your shoes, for you are approaching holy ground." What happens, my friend, when we take off our shoes? Well, we bare our sole, the sole of our feet, and our heel, right? Our heel of our foot. So when does God appear? When we get in touch with our inner soul and realize that there's an essence, a life force, a creative energy that's within us, and it's also in my neighbor. It's also in every person in the world. It's also in every living thing. It's also throughout the cosmos. This creative power that is within me, it's all over the universe. It's wondrous, it's magnificent, and that's what God is. Not the supernatural, but the natural. God doesn't exist in conjuring tricks where we pray and all of a sudden God heals us, or we're somehow in touch with the supernatural. My friends, if 6 million people were praying harder than you and I could ever pray for anything to be delivered, and those prayers went unanswered, it's arrogant to suggest, well, I can do prayers or I can get in touch with a healing power and it's going to heal me. That's not where God is. God is in the incredible, wondrous majesty of everything about us, within us and without us, that unites all, that transcends all, and that's within all, that is constantly transforming what is into what could be. And in cosmic Judaism, we say Judaism should also channel that force that's not only saying what could be, but what should be. And we do believe in should. We do believe in a supreme idealistic force in the universe that's urging us to do not only what we could, but we say there's should, right and wrong, and what should be. When does God appear? When Bishop Desmond Tutu fights nonviolently in order to end a corrupt, unjust system of apartheid. When does God appear? God appears when we live on a planet that is heating up, and most of the world thinks this is inevitable, there's nothing we can do, but some people have this indomitable spirit of the Jew to say we can use our hearts and our minds to overcome and to transcend and to solve world problems. When does God appear? God appears when we have the right to get angry and to get mad and to say, no, I'm going to resist that urge and I'm going to reach out in love. As my father used to say, don't let it annoy you, let it amuse you. When does God appear? When we see someone who needs a helping hand, and instead of walking by, we decide to help them. When we see an animal that normally we wouldn't consider, and we donate money to the ASPCA or to an environmental group. When does God appear? When we're loving towards our children and our grandchildren, and even a perfect stranger. When we walk into a restaurant or a public park, and we see people that we don't know, and we consider them our friends and family, and go up to them and say hello. When does God appear? When we can turn to our neighbor who might be of a different political party and see that there's a person there, and see beyond the label, and make friends with Jews and Christians and Muslims. When does God appear? When we burn with passion and zeal. And this burning passion to love one another is never consumed. Yes, my friends. When does God appear? And how can God appear in our lives? When we realize that there is a power greater than ourselves. This power is within us, beyond us, it's in everything. And to recognize the beauty. When we change the way we think and understand that God is in the natural world, and the natural world is spectacular and wondrous, and we realize how fortunate we are to even be alive in this universe. And instead of wishing for another life, when we celebrate this one, and this day, and this moment, and this opportunity that we have to love others, that is when God appears. Shabbat Shalom.
Tyrants have oppressed us, exiled us from our land, but with purpose fate has blessed us, and empowered we still stand. Jews will not surrender, the battle is not lost. We are truth's defender, regardless of the cost. Can you feel the love tonight? This is who we are. It gives us strength as spiritual wanderers, guided by a star. And can you feel the love tonight on this day of rest? Our purpose is to serve humanity. With this mission, we've been blessed.
We'll never be defeated. We'll never disappear, because we're still needed, not in heaven but down here. We've survived persecution, crusades and pogroms too. For justice we are peaceful wanderers, it's our role as a Jew.
And can you feel the love tonight as we share Shabbat? Whether we're a king or a vagabond, we give thanks for our lot. Can you feel the love tonight on this day of rest? Spreading peace and love throughout the world is our sacred quest.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'take to love yotzeh bereshit, shelo astanu k'goyei haratzot, velo samanu k'mishpechol ha'adama, shelo sam kelkenu kahem, v'gor aleinu k'gor hamona, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך כל הארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו
In addition to those that we remember at this time as we read the Kaddish, those whose anniversary of whose departure occurs these days, those recently summoned from us, the many victims of the coronavirus, we also mention the name of Bishop Desmond Tutu, who is a force, a moral force for change against apartheid, a non-violent force for transformation of that society into one that is on the way towards recognizing equality and civil rights. Bishop Desmond Tutu said that his father once told him that you should not raise your voice, but improve your argument. And my father said something very, very similar. He said, don't raise your voice, raise the level of your argument. Very similar. Both of them look to their fathers for inspiration, as I do to mine, as we all do. When does God appear? God appears when we recognize the beauty of our heritage and link ourselves with our ancestors in their quest for spirituality, to transcend their own physical selves and to be part of this eon-long effort in order to make this world a better place. And so we're now going to continue with the Kaddish, in which we think of our own fathers and forefathers and make sure that we continue to stand upon their shoulders and view the world as they did and help carry out their hopes and dreams for a better world. Yiskedal v'yiskadash Shemei Rabbah, v'yamad yivrach roseh v'yamlich malchuseh, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayeducho beis Yisrael, v'agalav izman kariv v'imru amen. Yehi Shemei Rabbah mivorach la'olam ulmei ulmaya, yisborach v'yistabach v'yispoar v'yisromam v'yisnaseh. V'yishadar v'yishalev v'yishalav Shemei Kedeshah Berechu Le'elam Minko Berchasa V'shirasa Tishbechasa V'nechemasa Ta'amichon B'yama V'yimru Amen Os Yehi Shlam Rabba Min Shmaya V'chayim Aleinu V'yakol Yisrael V'yimru Amen Oseh Shalom B'mromav Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu V'yakol Yisrael V'yimru Amen. May the source of peace and comfort bring peace and comfort to all who mourn, and may we be that source of peace and comfort for others. And let us say, Amen.
Shabbat Shalom and a very happy new year to one and all from myself, Sharon Leibovitz, and from L'Dor Va-Dor. We're thrilled to have you viewing this very special Shabbat and New Year's celebration with L'Dor Va-Dor. We hope that you'll all enjoy a healthy and safe new year, and that this new year will be filled with only good things for one and all: peace, harmony, and unity and love. We hope that you're enjoying our unique brand of Judaism, offering you a rational approach using intellect, science, and reason to relate our Torah and our religion, while maintaining our beautiful traditions and values. We welcome you all to join with L'Dor Va-Dor in building the Judaism of tomorrow today and be a part of this exciting and appealing view of Judaism. We invite you all to learn with us and study Torah at our weekly Touch of Torah with Rabbi Barry on Tuesday, January 4th at 7 p.m. on Zoom, and each Tuesday evening. Next Friday evening, January 7th, we'll hold a rockin' Shabbat celebration on Zoom at 7 p.m. And we invite you all to participate and celebrate along with us, as we also honor those celebrating January birthdays and anniversaries. So please come out and join with us, and let's rock Shabbat together on Zoom. Something brand new and new for the new year. On Sunday afternoon, January 23rd, we will offer a new program, Come Zitz, 18 Chai Song Celebration, on Zoom at 4 p.m. This is a meditative, musical, and inspiring gathering where all can participate and be a part of something very special. More details soon. On Saturday evening, January 29th at 7 p.m., we'll once again enjoy the beautiful and special Taste of Shabbat, Shira, and Havdalah with cantorial spiritual leader Andrew Sussman. It's a time to hear some songs of Shabbat and readings, and close with the spiritual and sensitive tradition of Havdalah, also provided for you on Zoom. We will not hold our Oneg Shabbat Zoom and Shmooze this evening due to New Year's Eve, but we invite you to please join with us for our other upcoming virtual Zoom programming this week. We're excited to offer Zoom Shabbat celebrations to you each Friday in January with our Zoom and Schmooze following after in order to keep the strains of COVID at bay and for us to all stay healthy. We invite you to learn more about L'Dor Va-Dor from our website with our calendar events there, from our Facebook page, our emailed newsletters, and to view our past programs and services on our YouTube channel. We hope you will like what you see and choose to join us and support us so that we can fulfill our goals and dreams. We wish you all a happy and healthy and peaceful New Year 2022. Shabbat Shalom with love from all of us at L'Dor Va-Dor to you.
Yivarecha Adonai v'yishmarecha. May you be blessed and protected with good health. Ya'ech Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka. May the light of love and of reason shine upon you and be emitted from you always. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May you be lifted up by the power of love and the strength of the words that we've heard this evening in order to be a blessing and a source of peace. Amen. My friends, this entire Shabbat celebration has been devoted to the question, can God appear in our lives, and if so, how? I think we've answered that in many ways, but let me summarize it by this. The Torah says that Moses saw a bush aflame, but it was not consumed. Many people probably walked right by, but he paused to see the miracle and to appreciate it. Miracles abound about us every day. We see them all over in the world of nature and human nature, everything that we encounter. We see miracles. The bush burned, but it was not consumed. What that means is that we too should burn with religious fervor and with zeal at this magnificent universe and the opportunities for service and the ability to perceive a power, a creative power of the world greater than ourselves. But we must not be consumed by it. Some people are so consumed by this zeal that they go off in irrational, crazy ways, even exhibiting violence towards others. We should not be consumed. Some people are so burnt out by religion that they become disenchanted and disillusioned. We must burn with religious fervor, but if it's channeled through the intellect, through the mind, through reason, and through love, this passion, this burning desire to transcend ourselves and be a source of love, that will never be consumed. Let us be filled with this desire. Let us see God wherever we go, and let us share this vision with others in order to create the world dreamed of by our prophets. A world joyous with justice, brimming with brotherhood, and shimmering with shalom. Shabbat shalom. Thank you for joining us. It's a pleasure to be here with you. We will be live very soon. And in fact, we have many incredible things planned for the coming months. I hope you'll join with us. Contact us at L'Dor Va-Dor or at barryboca@aol.com. We'd love to hear from you. Join our congregational family as we together explore how God can appear in our lives and in this world. Shabbat shalom.